What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So check this out. Someone actually got a hold of the Smash Bros. Switch bundle, and they sold it online. We're going to talk a bit about that because it's kind of funny because it really doesn't make any sense to me, but I'll talk about why that is as we go forward. We also found out that GamePass is apparently expanding the PC, but what exactly does that mean? Because it's kind of been on PC already. We're going to talk about that as well. And there's been a little bit of game preservation mixed with piracy, I guess, that's taken place as well online, where an old classic from the arcade and even the old Windows PC appears to have had its source code put out there. So we got a lot of stuff to go over. Make sure, you guys, if you do enjoy these videos, make sure you hit the like button. It does help out. You guys liked the video yesterday and did help, so thank you very much there. Let's jump into some of the quick news. I'm going to start you guys off with Red Dead Redemption 2. It's out tomorrow, right? Well, interestingly enough, if you have pre-ordered it at GameStop, just in case maybe you missed this, you can actually go pick it up at 9 o'clock. And that's not necessarily just on the West Coast. See, sometimes stores on the West Coast will release at 9 p.m. because it's midnight on the East Coast. In this case, though, it appears to be 9 p.m. even on the East Coast here. GameStop will actually start distributing them then. I guess they just maybe got a deal, or they're just allowed to release it then because I guess that's technically the close of business for them in a lot of cases. But yeah, if you have it pre-ordered through GameStop, you can go in later on and just pick it right up early, get home, and get ready to install that data disk that apparently is like 50 gigabytes. It's going to have to read off of that disk, and then you put the other disk in, and I assume it's going to have to install another 50 gigabytes. It's insane. I'm getting it on the Xbox One just so I can play it on the X. I figure that's going to be the best experience between that or the PS4, and I should have a lot of fun. That'll actually give a lot of people at least a chance to play it before they have to go to bed and, get up for work and whatnot. That way you're not getting it at midnight and then finally being able to play it at like 1 a.m. after, it's done installing. Also, we talked a bit about Trine 4. Remember when we saw it was rated and everything? It looked like, yeah, all right, cool. I guess Trine 4 is coming out. Very odd because Trine 3 wasn't the best commercial success, but it was rated for everything, including the Switch. Well, they made that official. Yesterday they announced it on their Twitter page. You can see it here. And yeah, they announced it for Xbox One, PC, PS4, and the Nintendo Switch. Still a lot of details to come out, but they are looking to have it launched next year in 2019. So, of course, if you liked 3, well, you could check out 4 and see what you think about that. We'll find out more in trailers and, of course, promotional material going forward. But after we talked about it, there were a lot of people who were at least interested in the idea of Trine 4 and see will they take the series. Well, looks like we won't have to wait too long. Next year, they'll have it out, and it looks like they're just putting it on everything, so you can pretty much get it on whatever platform you like. Oh, and yesterday, I talked a bit about Dragon Quest XI and how I was kind of disappointed in the placement. We also didn't really get a lot of info in kind of the MPDs about Dragon Quest XI. It was kind of glossed over a bit because it fell out of the top 10, and a lot of times they'll kind of talk about some of the bigger releases that took place that month that fall in like the top 10 generally. They also talked about like Mario Party because it was Nintendo's best-selling game of the month. Well, we got a little more information of Dragon Quest XI, and it made me feel a bit better because I was very concerned. I kind of looked at it, was like, man, that's not very good if it can't even get in the top 10, even, and it had like the entire month. I mean, this thing came out like a week into September and had plenty of time to sell, and it couldn't even crack the top 10. Well, Matt Piscatella right here, as you can see, did talk about it, saying some folks asking about Dragon Quest XI. It was the biggest launch month in franchise history with dollar sales more than double the previous best of Dragon Quest 9. And that makes me feel a lot better knowing that, yeah, Dragon Quest XI at least did pretty good because I get concerned about this game in the West. It does great in Japan. It comes out, sells millions. It did great there on the 3DS and the PS4. I still think Square misfired there with the 3DS, not bringing that version over or even talking about bringing it over, but maybe because they're fully focused at this time on the Switch version since the PC and PS4 version have launched with no real bugs or technical issues that I've seen. I played all the way through it and liked the game a lot. I'll pick it up again on the Switch as well because I think there's going to be some exclusive stuff, exclusive content or features, and I'll be checking it out there as well. But good to know it at least did better than the previous in Dragon Quest IX by a healthy margin. So while it didn't crack the top 10, if you kind of put it in the chart of Dragon Quest releases, it's up there. It's at the top. So good to see for a series that I want it to gain more traction in the West. All right, guys, some of the quick news out of the way. Let's jump into some of the bigger stuff. I posted on Twitter yesterday about a Smash Bros. Ultimate Switch bundle that I guess I just got out in the wild, and here it is on eBay. Remember we talked about Super Mario Party? That leaked out early and sold for like $7,000 or something crazy. I don't get it, but that did sell. I guess somebody got it a few days early because there's shipping time in there. And now somebody has apparently paid nearly $1,100 for Super Smash Bros. On the Switch, at least the bundle. And here's my issue with this. It's a code that you get with it, so you're not getting Smash Bros. Ultimate early because it's a code that will, of course, activate on release in the beginning of December 7th. This bundle's actually set to release next Friday, right? November 2nd, next Friday? Yeah, so I don't really know what happened here or why somebody spent this kind of money for something that after ship time, they might not even get it till next Friday. So they're going to get it, like, I guess 4 days early. And the other thing is, the only thing that's really different is the dock and the Joy-Con controllers. Like the Switch, I don't think it's really touched after looking at the pictures or anything. It looks like a standard Switch. So they paid well over retail amount for a dock and 2 Joy-Con controllers and a code that'll work, when Smash comes out. So either somebody bought this thinking they were getting Smash early, in which case, well, I guess you should read up on it beforehand. That's all I can think of, where somebody just really wanted this for collection. They wanted to say, I got it first. Now, where did this person get it from? That's anyone's guess. They could have been working in the warehouses and they made off with it. They could have been a distributor at like a distribution center where there are wholesalers that will distribute to smaller retail stores. Walmart generally talks directly to like the manufacturers and everything, like Microsoft and whatnot. But this could have been someone at one of those wholesaling companies that was like, I could sell this for 3 times the amount on eBay. Let's go do that. And they did. So there you go. Who knows where it came from, but it definitely sold for way more than it should have. And I just want to know at this point who bought it and I guess their reasoning for it. Next up, let's talk about Game Pass on PC. Game Pass is an awesome service. I've talked about this several times. It's on the Xbox, but interestingly enough, it does technically already work on PC. For example, if you've downloaded Forza Horizon 4 already from Game Pass and you sign into your Windows account on your PC through the Windows Store, it technically works. It already kind of has that cross-buy, I guess you'd call it, for Game Pass, cross-download. It kind of already follows you back and forth anyway. Game Pass isn't really integrated into the store itself, though. Like, there's no Game Pass tab from what I've seen that kind of opens up like we see with the Xbox and all of that. But it sounds like Microsoft does want to push towards PC having Game Pass. And this was actually talked about in their recent Q1 earnings call, where Satya Nadella is actually obviously the head of everything, talks about this fact. He talks about how they want to push further into, well, developing Game Pass for PC. And like I said, I was curious when I heard this, because I looked at it and I said, all right, it's kind of already there, but what if they're talking about taking Game Pass as we know it now on the Xbox and moving it completely over? Like, what if they figured out a way to have emulation for Xbox One and even Xbox 360 or original Xbox games on PC, much like they've kind of developed for the Xbox One now, because the Xbox One does technically run Windows. It's developed specifically obviously, for emulation, but what if they could figure out a way to make these things run on a typical PC, and you go into Game Pass, you download it like normal, it probably loads up through an emulator of some kind, or maybe they just design it straight up for PC at this point. Seems like that'd actually be a lot of work, but let's say they figure all of that out, you go into Game Pass, you download a game, and you just play it, much like you would on the Xbox One or the Xbox One X or the S. That would be very compelling, I think, for a lot of PC owners to look at that, and finally, then Microsoft can get a subscription fee from PC gamers, because they're trying to figure it out right now. They're trying to figure out how to charge PC gamers monthly, because Xbox Live is not going to translate well to PC when, of course, Steam covers pretty much all of that now for free, right? Like all of that messaging, everything, that's all taken care of. They even do like voice chat. It's all done. So if Microsoft can get some sort of subscription fee over there, like their Netflix service with Game Pass, that would help them drastically, because I think a lot of PC gamers would buy into it, and it'd be interesting to see them try to emulate that stuff on there. Next up, let's talk about the Media Create sales charts in Japan. These are the physical sales that are sold in retail stores and everything, so anything goes across the counter in Japan, it counts it here. Now, I do also want to make one correction here. I talked about Starlink and how it would show up. It's actually not showing up in Media Create until next year. It looks like Ubisoft talked about releasing it in April of 2019, so we're not going to see Starlink in these charts for quite a while. It's an interesting gap for releases, right, for Japan and other places. So not sure what that's about, but just in case, I know some people are going to look at this list and say, where's Starlink? It's not out yet. So let's go over the top 10 though. With Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at the top at number 1. Good hold there, by the way, but as it comes in at 92,572 more units. Black Ops 4 is it's doing well in Japan. That's actually really well. It's much better than some of the previous iterations there, and it continues moving on. 60% drop, but that's to be expected after the initial week of sales. I'm going to be curious how long it'll stay up there. Of course, we have Pokemon coming up, which is going to take over Japan for a while, and then Smash, same thing there. Super Mario Party actually also doing well, sticking at number 2. It did have a drop, not as much as Call of Duty, but it is down to 36,381. Soul Calibur 6 came in at number 3. It's new, and 24,000 units is, I want to say that's underwhelming for Bandai Namco after seeing it in the UK doing much less at retail as well. Maybe this really is that digital era really taking over because it sold 55% less at retail in the UK, and here it is kind of turning in an underwhelming performance here on the charts at number 3 with 24,000 units. Dark Souls Remastered below that, 14,646 on the Switch. I'm trying to figure out how good that actually is because there's a lot of factors with Dark Souls Remastered, of course, on the Switch where it's out way after the other versions, right? Like way after. The PS4, Xbox One, and everything else has been out for a bit. So I kind of look at that as say it's an okay debut at 14,646. I'll be more concerned going forward to see if it drops off the charts quickly. Crystar below that, new offering for the PS4, 10,473. Going down to number 6, Assassin's Creed Odyssey drops down from the 3rd spot last week. Minecraft, which sticks around in the top 10 fairly well actually now. Splatoon 2, which seems to never drop out of the top 10. That's actually at almost 2.7 million, by the way, now. Pretty good. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Warriors Orochi 4 for the PS4. And I do want to mention number 11 because that's another new release. That's actually Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy Bonus Edition on the Nintendo Switch. Remember how it was going to be published there? Well, there you go, 5,217. And by the way, that is Sega who published that. Moving over to the hardware, Nintendo Switch at the top, 40,148. Seems to be status quo for the Nintendo Switch. No real massive drop-offs or gains or anything. We'll be seeing more of that during the Pokemon launch. Even maybe the week up to Pokemon, to be honest. I could see that happening. There, it's now sitting at 5.2 million units, so it is less than 2 million units behind the PS4 now. It's going to be very important to remember going into Christmas just to see what the Switch can do. Maybe catch the PS4 by the end of 2018. PlayStation 4, 21,673. That price drop has helped it, but it is kind of settling back down to kind of the teens now. 3DS, 6,412 is down about 500 units from last week. The PlayStation Vita, man, I gotta give this Vita credit. It is fighting. It really is. 2,247. It's doing its best right now. But by the way, the Vita has sold 279,000 units so far. Last year, it'd be this time. It is down to 153,000, but it hasn't dropped off that drastically, which is very impressive considering how little Sony actually supports it. But that is also coming up to 6 million units, by the way, the Vita is. So good to see there. Xbox One, 231, almost within margin of error, basically is from last week, and it's now at 100,823. So pretty basic week there in Japan, nothing crazy. We're building up to, like I said, Pokemon and Smash are the ones that people are very interested to see how those launch, to see how that goes, because of course Japan is really going to support those games, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it affects Switch sales here going into the holidays. That's going to be the big one. Call of Duty, though, give that game some credit. Black Ops 4 is doing well in Japan. It's sticking at the number 1, and it might even be there next week as well. We'll see how all that goes down going into, like I said, into the holidays. Overall, though, okay week, just nothing really crazy. Soul Calibur, though, that is just very underwhelming. I don't know where this franchise is going to go. I get they're going to obviously go through the holidays and everything, but they have talked about trying to move to the Switch, and maybe that's just to try to get more sales out of this brand. But we'll see if they want to do anything else with it. I'm sure DLC is coming, so they'll try to make at least some more money from that as well. I mean, they put a DLC character in the beta, right? So I mean, they're no stranger to that. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about some game preservation, again mixed with a little bit of piracy, as this technically is the games leaking online. They're very old games at this point, but they leaked online. People are downloading them now, and it's been put out there, source codes for older Mortal Kombat games. You're going to see some images here from just a few of them, for example. These include Mortal Kombat 3 for the PS1, Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the N64, and the Mortal Kombat 3 port from Windows 95, and these are all the source codes that have been leaked out, which means people can, of course, do different things to them, modify them, all kinds of stuff. So you might see some modified versions of these games out there at some point. Now, I can't technically link you to them because it technically is, I guess, ROMs and source codes and piracy and whatnot, but they're very easy to find. They originally leaked out on 4chan, and then the links were shared pretty much all over the place on different retro game forums where it was allowed, because again, they're seeing this as piracy. They're pulling those links down. Pretty easy to find on 4chan though, but yes, they are out there. People have been downloading just to see how legit these things are, and they appear to be. So I guess on one hand, for game preservation, hey, they are out there now and people have them, which is good to see. A lot of people didn't even know Mortal Kombat was on Windows 95. So again, interesting to hear about that. I think you even need to have like an older PC, maybe even to get it to work correctly. Of course, you can kind of emulate Windows and everything and do all that, but it's kind of cool to see. But let me know what you think about preservation, but it's technically still piracy, I guess. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that situation, because it definitely is a fine line that a lot of people have to walk with this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. Really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it's the Red Dead Redemption 2 releasing tonight at 9 p.m. Let me know if you're getting it tonight, if you're getting it tomorrow, or throughout the weekend. I'm curious how many people are picking this thing up kind of going into the holidays. Very curious there. What about the Smash Bros. Bundle selling for some weird reason? Why do you think someone would buy that and spend over $1,000 for something that's coming out next week on a Friday? Does that make any sense to you? Let me know. I'm trying to make sense of that myself, so let me know down below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.